Representative Mark Green, the 7th Congressional District of Tennessee, and he's on the hotline now to talk a little bit about this new speaker. Congressman Green, thank you so much for joining us on very short notice. We know you have a vote coming, so we'll get right to it. Tell us a little bit about Mike Johnson and what kind of speaker you think he's going to be.
Well, I think he's going to be great on a lot of levels. This guy is a deep faith conservative. Grew up the son of a firefighter who actually got injured in a big fire and was disabled, I think, when Mike was about 12 years old. He's been a good friend of mine, supported me when I moved into the chairman's seat over at Homeland. I think he has a good vision. I think he'll manage the conference very well. He's a constitutional lawyer, so he gets the Second Amendment and the First, the things that really matter. He gets the 10th Amendment too, which is really important for us. The fight isn't in Washington; it's with Washington, and so I think he'll be very good.
He spent some time talking about his core principles, which I thought were really, really excellent, and he seems to be, from all outward appearance, a man who cares deeply about conservative ideas.
Absolutely. He is he's one of the more conservative. You can look at the voting records and he's right there with myself and some of the other guys in Tennessee, most of the guys in Tennessee. So, he's going to he'll be far more conservative than the guy he's replacing.
So talk about the process, which has been so elongated and elaborate, and a lot of votes behind closed doors. What was your impression about that whole process as it unfolded?
Well, there's some inside baseball there that I kind of figured out after I threw my name in the hat. And it was a little bit frustrating, but I think my throwing my name in the hat kind of got it exposed. So that was helpful for Mike to get the job. I decided to throw my name in because, we just it just kept going and going. And it's like, okay, well, I'm pretty well regarded in the conference and had a lot of people come to me. And so we just said, okay, we'll finally do this because somebody's got to do it. And we're flailing. And of course, like I said, I think that helped Mike get across the finish line because I was able to point out some stuff that was, working against getting this thing solved.
What was the inside baseball that you're talking about?
Well, I just think there were people who wanted this thing to drag out a little longer so that it would empower people who the conference were not supportive of. And so that's probably, the best I can say of it right now. It just provided an opportunity to show that there were people actually working behind the scenes to drag it out and empower people that the conference wasn't supportive of.
Can you change this rule, which I think, any speaker is going to be in jeopardy if that rule that allows any one person to come to the floor and get a vote on vacating the chair? Well, we could be going through this whole thing again if one member gets their nose out of joint.
So what happened to get us there is the first thing to understand. McCarthy tied the rules of the conference to the speaker's chair when he negotiated to get himself across the finish line.
Right. And
by doing so, the will of the conference became second to those one or two individuals that McCarthy needed. And when I gave my speech to the conference yesterday, I said, look, we got to separate the speaker from the rules. The rules belong to the conference. And one of my points, and thank goodness it's also Mike's point, is decentralizing the power of the speaker. I think we've got to empower the members to represent their districts. And that is something Mike wants to do. And this rulemaking, getting it back to the conference, let the conference decide what the rule ought to be. Not only this rule, but all the rules will let the members represent their districts. And that's I think the most important thing. I believe in representative democracy, and so does Mike. And so I'm glad to see him win it. And if he'd have won it the first time, I wouldn't have had to put my name in. So.
There are a lot of things that need to be done. I think first up on the list is a vote, maybe even this afternoon, in support of Israel. And then can you get the budget appropriation bills across the goal line before I think the deadline's November 17th?
17th, yeah. So that's going to be a lot of work. And we were supposed to be in district this week and next week, and I don't think we are now. So we'll be here working to try to get as much of the approach bills done as we can. He issued a targeted backwards plan this morning, and so we're just going to crush and try to get them done. Now, there's a strong chance we don't get them all finished. There'll be some percentage of discretionary spending that's still, right now we're already like 60 or 70% passed, because the Senate passed, or the House passed. For example, my approach side, the Homeland approach, we passed Department of Defense approach. So the big chunk items, most of them have gone through. We've got several more, but we'll get more of those done, and then we may or may not have a few left over, and then we'll have to address that issue getting closer to November 17th. But we will get a lot of them done.
Of course, anything that comes out of the House has to then be considered by the Senate, and it seems as if there will be a need for several conferences. That takes time.
Yeah, it does. And what's tragic is those 4 bills that we've sent to the Senate, the Senate hasn't done a single thing on them. And in fact, Chuck Schumer, I think it was a week or so ago, right after we sent the Homeland Appropriations bill over, he took a trip to China. So the Senate's got to get off its backside and start doing some work, because, they have 4 appropriations bills sitting over there waiting on them to action on, and they haven't done anything.
Yeah. What is the great lesson you think that has been learned as a result of this whole mess?
I think one of the biggest lessons is the speaker. You can't tie the committee rules to the speaker and make basically the entire conference of the Congress beholding to 1 or 2 members or some number of members, and that's a big lesson. And Mike, Speaker Johnson gets it, and I think we're in a much better place. Like I said, we've got a much more conservative Speaker of the House of Representatives right now, and for Tennesseans and for America, that's an amazing and great thing.
All right. Well, Congressman Mark Green from the 7th Congressional District of Tennessee, I know you have a vote coming up in a matter of minutes, and I promise to release you. Thank you so much